Hey everybody, this is On coming to you with this month's video, and this is getting ready to work with the influences that are coming up in June 2026. For those who don't know me, I am an energy mentor, so I look at the different energy currents that are present, what's going on, and I try to align things with that because I feel like when we're working in alignment with the energy currents, then in a way, we're maximizing our growth. We're maximizing what we can get out of things. We're working with natural flow. And all of those things are important when we're trying to progress or do something or resolve something. And it's just like doing things in the season, right? You don't jump out in your bikini in the middle of winter. You don't go around wearing the heavy parka in 120-degree temperatures, right? It's the same kind of concept. So when we work with the natural currents of energy, we're working with divine flow. For those that don't know, not only do I do this work, but every year I put out a book. It's a nice big thick book here called The Code Journey. And I'm getting ready to put out yet another edition soon. 2026 is the ninth edition I put out. And in a couple of more months, about 2.5 more months, I'm going to be releasing the 2027 edition. And it's a great daily guidebook, is what it is for people. So it kind of keeps you in flow with the currents. It allows you to work with foresights, all of that kind of stuff. But today, what we're looking at is we are looking at these 8 steps to build success. And success is always a tricky thing because people have so many different ideas of what success is, what it's about, what they want to do. And a lot of times they're trying to force something to happen instead of allowing it to happen, all of these different components. And I think that success does come in a lot of different packages, so to say. We have the success of meeting metrics, we have the success of our own personal successes, what's an achievement for us, may not be an achievement for somebody else, and vice versa. So it comes in a lot of different ways, but basically, it is some form of an accomplishment, whether you're putting that into a physical metric or whether you are doing that as something that is more personal in nature or spiritual in nature, whatever the case is for that. So the first step that we're looking at with building success is to embrace the process from start to finish. You've got to have a commitment to things because if you're really going to manifest the successes, you can't just give up when it gets a little challenging. You can't just say, oh, okay, well, I did the part that I like and now I'm going to walk away from it. When we don't complete things, when we don't finish things, when we don't see them through from start to finish, then we are self-sabotaging and we set up bigger patterns in ourselves that create blocks and obstacles and it brings in like a lack of fulfillment. And what most people, I won't say most people, what a lot of people miss is when they don't embrace the process, they're not getting the full experience. So they're just getting fragmented pieces in a way. This is kind of like, oh, I don't like vegetables, so I'm not going to eat any. Well, your body needs that nutrition of those vegetables. So sometimes we've got to eat them whether we like them or not. And embracing the process is where we can learn to appreciate the end results more. Sometimes we can make successes that we don't even realize we want or need to make. And that process is a whole learning thing. We don't just get to jump to the end result in things. And I think that this is really important because a lot of people want to do that. It's like, I just want to be an overnight success or an overnight celebrity or this or that. And even though these things seem to come up overnight, they're really not. Nobody becomes truly just an overnight celebrity. They've put in a lot of hours and a lot of work and a lot of practice and a lot of different other things to get that level of success. The same thing is true. A company doesn't just become a success overnight. It takes a lot of effort. It takes the challenges of facing losses along the way. There's challenges that come up and you have to deal with those things. So the more we can embrace the process, and this is kind of a commitment piece, then the more, one, we will get out of the experience. Two, the more we can value our successes. And three, the more that we will be able to appreciate, not just appreciate, but um, really bring the successes to a complete point and not just, again, have these tiny little pieces. I mean, if you just want to make tiny pieces, that's okay. Those usually don't require some process or commitment to do, right? I mean, if you want to make dinner, you just go and you make dinner, okay? But if you really want to appreciate and enjoy the meal and all of that, then you really want to embrace the whole process. I mean, the meal just doesn't show up at your dinner table, right? You need to go to the store. There has to be farmers. The more you're connected with the process, the more you um, really value what you get. And I think that's so important. So, number two, we must have patience. Okay. Again, things are not this quick result. And a lot of times, successes take a lot of work, they take a lot of effort, they take a lot of um, putting in, not just, that commitment, but they don't manifest immediately. So you may put forth results now. You may talk to somebody today, and 6 months down the line, they come back to you and say, I remember this conversation we had, or we connected at this place, and I'm really interested in seeing if we could take this further or what we can create from this. And now I'm in a position to move forward. So patience, a lot of times success is based on planting seeds. So we need to be able to plant the seeds, nourish them, develop them. That's part of the process, right? You can't just plant something and then ignore it totally and expect it to grow or, to be healthy when it does grow, if it does grow. We've got to have patience with the process. I know, especially today, the more we've gone into technology, I think people used to have more patience. If you go back several years, like when I was growing up, people had more patience because they were more involved in the process. Now that we have this technology and things are designed to move very fast, very quickly, and people don't want to have any patience with things. Having patience is huge because, again, this develops a connection with the process. It develops a commitment to seeing things through. And some things just take time. Again, you can't force it. Even if you've taken all the right steps, there might be a divine timing piece involved. And there may be other things that you don't know about that have to come together and come into place. It's like a lot of people say, well, why don't you have a place to live yet that's permanent? Why don't you have this? Why don't you have that? And it's like, well, it's in God's timing. God is orchestrating all these incredible pieces behind the scenes that I can't even see. And to get me into what I really need, I have to be patient. I have to be patient. I take my steps, but then I'm patient with things. I keep nurturing it. I keep developing it. I keep checking on it. All of those things. I mean, it's like families. You don't just go out and have a kid and then not have anything to do with that kid at all. Okay. You have to nurture the development of that child in order for them to be successful in the world. So the same thing is there. We've got to have the patience and realize that a lot of times we are going to put forth effort that we're not going to see immediate results on. I mean, once in a while, yeah, we get some immediate results or immediate feedback on something, but a lot of times we're not going to see the results for a ways down the line. So again, seeing that piece through. The third thing, building future successes. We want to keep in mind that part of this patience, part of being committed to the process, is about building future successes. It's not just about what we're going to get in the moment. It's not just about this exact point in time. Yes, we want to stay very focused on the present, but a lot of the actions we take to develop success is for future successes. They're not the successes we have now, because if we had all of the successes now in the fullest state possible, we wouldn't need to build them, would we? It seems like a very simple, common sense thing, but when you look at it, we want to think about that. It's about what are we building for the future, not just now. And I think in our world, we have to think a lot about that too, because we have to find that balance between what do we need right now, what do we need to take care of ourselves, support ourselves, but also what are we leaving future generations? What are we setting them up with? What are we creating? Um, and again, when we're talking future, it's always the actions we're taking. We don't want to skimp on them. We don't want to go just the easiest way possible on them because it is about more than just, again, meeting a metric in there. Real successes are more than just meeting the metric. And we're laying these foundations. We're laying the foundations for that success to keep building, for that success to grow, for that success to come through. So it's keeping that in mind and realizing that it's kind of like an investment. You're going to put something down now so that you have something for later. Kind of like the rainy day fund, same kind of concept too. The fourth thing is this: when we're building success, it can really challenge our abundance deprivation energy. And when I say that, um, a lot of people feel like, oh, I'm in this beautiful abundance. Of course, let's just be abundant and spend and spend and spend. But when the challenges come up, we can also feel a lot of deprivation, and we have to be careful of that. So, what we want to do is to realize, yeah, we have enough. We're not suffering. We're not deprived in this process. But yeah, it's going to take some work. We may not have all the resources we need, so we may have to get creative along the way. And this can bring up challenges for people because if they can't just spend a lot of money, and I see people out there and they spend a lot of money on marketing programs, and it works for some of them, a few of them. Most of them, it does not work enough for to sustain them. So they're putting out all this money on these programs, and they're not necessarily getting anything back for that investment. Um, but when our abundance is challenged, it can make it very easy to give up. When we feel like we don't have enough, it can be easy to give up. And I've been in that spaces where it's like, okay, I have zero marketing budget. I have zero for this. I have zero for that. What do I do? Where can I go with what I have to work with? And I think a lot of times when we hit these challenges, it is an opportunity to tap into our creativity. It's an opportunity to get in and find out, okay, let's see what I can do if I have nothing. And maybe as I build some things, then I'll have the resources to do more. But in the meantime, there's a lot of free stuff that we can do. There's a lot of um, pieces if we just get a little creative and we just get down to it and start looking at, well, what are my options? How can I do this? And instead of just throwing up the block saying, poor me, I'm deprived, I don't have the resources to do something, coming back saying, okay, well, what if I connect with these people? What if I put up flyers places? What if I'm more proactive on social media? What is available? What if I do these live shows that are $25 or $30 instead of $300 or $500? What kind of an impact can I have? What area would I need to be in? So there's always options out there. Again, we have to be patient and we have to be willing to look at what those different options are and to realize that we can make it work with whatever we have. If we're truly dedicated to the successes, the resources are not as critical as that dedication. And if we're willing to do exchanges with people, that's another way that we can get some of the things that we need without paying for them when our resources are low. So maybe you know somebody that does website work or something like that. So you exchange your services for their services. There's always opportunities. You just have to get in there, research it a little bit, and work with it. Number 5, stay practical with your resources. Okay. We can be comfortable in life without being excessive. And I think I see this a lot with people. They flip to one extreme or the other. Oh my God, I can't have anything if I don't have this excessiveness. And, it's like, no, you can live very comfortably. I mean, just because you're not living excessively doesn't mean you're deprived, doesn't mean you're suffering, doesn't mean you're in this hardship. Okay, you can live very comfortably and not be excessive. And, our society programs us to all this excessiveness, and just these radical, extremes, like it's one side or the other. And it really isn't. So when we get practical with our resources, and this comes back to what I was just saying, working within the resources we have. Don't put yourself in debt for things, okay? You're not getting real success if you've acquired $20,000 in debt to do it. That's not a success. Yeah, I mean, maybe you pay yourself, maybe you can get that payoff somewhere, but you've got to be very careful of the debts, the loans, the things like that. It's very easy for people to just charge something these days. Just charge it. Just put it on the credit card. I'll make payments on it. But we forget by the time we've done that, that $1,000 item becomes a $3,000 item. We're paying so much more, and then we're putting all this added stress on ourselves to make those payments and adding to our expenses and adding to the stress and the anxiety of meeting those expenses. If we just simplify things a little bit to start with, and I've done this many times with people where it's like, okay, let's just go with something really basic, really simple. You could still give a great presentation. Like when I was touring and I spent the three summers on the road touring with my work. And I put together stuff that was extremely simple. Um, my whole display setup total cost like, I want to say it cost around $50 to put together. That was it. $50 is what my entire display setup cost. And it may not have even cost that. I can't remember. But so many people go out and they go with all these fancy displays, but my booth was drawing in people. People would literally come from across the room to my booth because it was so simple and so welcoming and so inviting and so peaceful, which just goes to show that, these fancier things are not necessarily better. They don't necessarily bring you in more business. They don't necessarily make something better. I mean, who cares if it's fancy if nobody's taking what you're selling, If it doesn't bring you any results, it doesn't matter. So sometimes we just need to simplify a little bit and we just need to get down and say, what are the resources I have to work with and what can I do with that? And again, you can find the answers, and the answers will come if you'll search, if you will be open to receiving them, if you will allow yourself to get creative in them. Just stay practical. You don't have to be on one extreme or the other, and you can make it work in there. And you're going to find that a lot easier because when you're at ease, then you're going to, again, be radiating that energy that invites people in. Focus on committing to what holds true value. And I'm sorry, my nose is really itching today. Focus on what committing to what holds true value. So, in a certain extent, you've got to look at what is adding value, not just to myself, to the world, to people around me. Um, Commit to those things that are important, and don't let your business, don't let your goals and your drives and your desires override the things that are important, like time with family, having a vacation once in a while, taking a break, just having a day where you're not working and having a day of rest. Don't let yourself become so absorbed by what you're doing that you lose connection with things that hold real meaning for you. You need time to connect with nature. You need time to be with the people you love. You need time to stop and look at the sunrise, the sunset, the night sky, sit around a campfire, whatever it is. Don't overwork yourself just to try to impress other people, because in the end, those people, they don't care about you. In the end, none of that's going to matter if you've sacrificed things of value. Make sure that you're committing to things of value and the success will come. People will draw in when you're upholding that, when you set some boundaries. It's almost like wanting something that they can't have in a way. So when they know, okay, you're only accessible during certain hours, we've gotten away with this with technology where we're so accessible all the time. And sometimes we need to not be accessible. And rarely does that ever cost you any business. And usually the business it costs you isn't the business you want in the first place. Um, so the success is not just about things. It's not just about acquiring status. It is about acquiring and connecting with things that are important in life too, and having time to do your own exploration, have fun, have adventures for yourself. Because if you're not out having adventures and experiencing the world, you're not going to be able to build those successes very well. You need the interaction. You need to have the variety. You need to um, get new ideas. That's how you get new ideas sometimes, is having adventures, interacting with people, doing these things. A lot of things come up in our most casual conversations with somebody. Some of the most brilliant ideas come in when we're sitting around hanging out with friends on the beach, right? Or something like that. So make sure you're committed to the things of value first, and then let the success flow from that. And focus on what is number 7, focus on what is best for you and don't be persuaded by others. Again, it's a very easy for marketing people and all these other people to tell you, well, you need to do this and you need to buy into that. You got to have this and you got to have that. And if you don't, you'll never make it and you'll never be successful. And, isn't $20,000 worth having a 6-figure income? And most of the stuff just does not work for the average person, for a lot of people. And I think that this is a big thing, is knowing what is best for you and honoring that and sticking with this. This is another piece of the responsibility factor. And don't let other people persuade you into these things. I get stuff all the time from people. It's like, oh, your SEO needs improvement and this and that. And I'm like, really? Because when I look at my website stats and I go in and look at everything, I'm performing at 97%. So I think I'm doing pretty good. Maybe I'm not getting all the business I want, but the only things they could really improve on is allowing AI to write things. And every time I've put something in to see what AI would come up with in it, because it is, a friendly website that way, it, creates a lot of stuff for you. But at the same time, I'm sitting there going, well, that's interesting, because what AI comes up with does not represent my work at all. It comes up with something totally different, manipulated, lies, fabrication. I'm like, I want nothing to do with that. So a lot of times people do not know what's best for you, and you have to stand by that and honor it. Now, number 8, you must deal with things. Every business, every success, personal, business, whatever, is going to have things probably involved in it that you don't like, right? Just like a marriage or a relationship. There are going to be days where that person is irritating the heck out of you and you don't want anything to do with them. You don't want to face those rough times, the fights, the arguments, whatever. But you know what? When you face them, you get a deeper, stronger relationship with that person. Well, the same thing is true when we're creating successes. When we face the challenges, when we're forced to deal with things, when we need to deal with things, we want to embrace them. Even if we're kind of resisting them and we are in the moment thinking, I don't like that part of the business. If you look at any business owner, there are parts and aspects of the business that are not their favorite pieces to do. But if you don't deal with them, they can create a lot of havoc. They can create a lot of blocks, more obstacles, more challenges. So we really want to embrace these things. And I find for myself, you know what? It's like injuries on my body. Whatever way my body is resisting is exactly the movement I need to do to be successful. So whatever way my, for example, hip and leg don't want to stretch, that's exactly the movement I need to make in order to strengthen my leg to allow me to walk better. And the same thing is true with successes. Whatever we're resisting, embrace it as an opportunity for strengthening, because usually the only reason we're resisting it, it's not because it's not because it's like harmful for us. It's because we are blocking it. There's a fear, there is maybe some sort of thing from our past that we've associated that makes it unpleasant in some way. But most of the time, it's just because we're not feeling strong in that. We're not feeling confident about it. So then we need to look at that and say, well, can I just build my confidence up a little bit? Can I just go from that factor? So that is my 8 steps to build success this month. And I hope you'll work with them. I hope you'll take them in and see what you can do with them and see how it might help you. And just do it. So again, we want to embrace the process, be committed from start to finish. We need to be patient. We want to build future successes and keep our focus on that. We want to embrace the challenges that come up around abundance or deprivation and realize that we are not suffering, we are not deprived just because it's not all flowing perfectly. We want to stay practical with our resources. We want to focus on committing to what holds true value. We want to focus on what is best for us and don't let others persuade us. And we must deal with things. With that, take care, everybody. If you like what I've shared in this video, please share it out to people. Like the channel, like the video. It all helps me. Leave a comment. Leave a comment. I'm not very good at some of these promoting things. I admit it. Go over to the website, check it out, see if there's anything that interests you. Pick up a copy of the Code Journey, and that is at compassioncodes.com, also in the notes below. Take care, and I'll see you next month.